So again, this scale is just for you to use as a reference, just for yourself, just so you can have an idea of which one will be your lightest areas, which value will be your lightest areas, and which value will be your darkest areas. So for example, these light areas is those areas on the ball that receive more light, and these are the dark area, the darkest one on the left, and then you have all this range in between of values. So you have all basically these possibilities of values to use, right? Between the dark, the darkest, and the lightest. So you can see, for example, with pencil, you get way less contrast than with the charcoal because the charcoal is just darker. So, but it is a matter of choice which materials to use, right? But usually with the charcoal, you can get a wider range of values. So maybe it's easier to make more realistic drawings because you can get this better contrast and more three-dimensionality in an easier way, maybe because of the higher contrast. And now I'm gonna do the same, but with on a tone paper using also the white chalk. So, okay, dividing in 8 again. And again, this could be basically infinite amounts of like values. And again, this is the darkest as I can go, right, with this charcoal. And now the lightest would be then the white chalk, right? The white pastel, I think this pencil is actually. I just call it white chalk, but it's some sort of waxy pastel. So the light now is I establish the light, right? On the tone paper, I decide what will be the lightest area, how light that will go according to the material that I'm using. In this case, this white pencil. So this is the lightest. So the second lightest will be something a little bit darker than that one. So the light half tones, I also use this pencil, the white chalk pencil. And maybe the values in between would be kind of like the paper, the color of the paper. So let's go back to the dark ones. So again, I have this scale of values, and now the middle tones, the half tones, are sort of the color of the paper. So because I'm using the tone paper, then I establish the light, right? So this scales basically is a good exercise for you to understand the limits, or the range of values that you can have on your drawing according to the materials that you're using, right? So if you're doing a drawing, you can put a scale like beforehand, or on top of the drawing, on top of your board, so you can have a reference for yourself. So, and then I know, for example, in here that this is the darkest as I can go. So in the darkest areas, for example, the chin, the shadow under the chin, or the curl of the hair, if those are the darkest areas that you're going to have on your drawing, so you know that this is the value that you're going to use, right? You have this reference. And it's something like a shadow, let's say, on the neck that is not as dark as a hair, for example, then you use the second darkest value. So it's just for you to have a reference. So now as an example, I'm going to do the exercise of the ball. And it's simple and generic. And okay, start with the ball and the shadow, the cast shadow, and the shadow on it. So if this is the darkest area on the drawing, right, the cast shadow, so basically this will be this value here, right, my darkest. And the reflected light will be another different value, and this lightest areas will be basically like the color paper. So here will be some half tone that you can check, you can see, but it's basically, this scale is basically a reference for you. And let me just finish this drawing, then to show better the full range of values on the drawing itself. So I know, for example, around this area I'm going to use the darkest value. It's going to be a little bit darker. And all the shadows, it's kind of the same value. So I know, for example, that this shadow here, this area here, it will be, it's basically the same as the cat shadow. Is quite dark, but then the one near to it is a lighter value. So as I progress, as I move down, I know it will be a lighter value. So again, you do this scale just for you to have a reference, just so you to have in mind that you should use different values to show the roundness of the object in this case. So I'm doing the half tones now. Oops. So my objective here is not to have a finished drawing, but just to show how to make use of this value chart, value scale. So just to show, for example, here I already have these darkest values, some intermediate values, the lighter values, half tones, and the lightest area is basically the paper. And that's it.